you're listening. We're going to be talking about the Futurist conference that just came out of Toronto last week. It's actually Canada's largest blockchain conference, which is pretty sweet. Generally, in Canada here, there's not really too many crypto conferences, so it's nice to go to the one big one of the year. And it was amazing. So, in this space today, we are going to just do a little recap, talk about our experiences, kind of what stuck with us, etc., etc. So, before we get started, I wanted to kind of start with some intros about what everybody's doing, and then we will dive right in. So, let me start off with Dan from MetaWealth here. Dan, you want to tell everybody listening here kind of what you're working on,
Yeah,
what you're doing?
sure. Yeah, okay, great. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, all good, all good.
Yeah,
Also, in the
awesome. Okay,
meantime, too,
thanks.
sorry, interrupt Dan. We're still hitting those
Yeah, no worries.
retweets. So you guys at the bottom corner there, hit the retweet button. Let's get your friends in here, right? We're about to dive in, and it's gonna be a great space. Sorry, Dan. Go ahead.
Perfect. Yeah, no, my name is Dan. I do communications at MetaWell. We are a real estate fractionalization platform and app. We currently have about 3 million AUM, and we're expanding quickly. We take real estate assets and let anybody start investing in real estate with 100 bucks. Um, yeah, and our real estate, it's in Europe right now, but we're expanding to different places around the world, and it's enabled by blockchain and NFTs and tokenization.
Sweet, we love that, baby. I love investing in real estate, but I only got $100. So, could be a great, great opportunity for
Perfect.
me to get started.
Great.
Great. Well, happy to have you here, Dan. Next, we'll start with go to Brad from the Halving Report. How's it going, bud?
Good, man. Thanks for having me on this Twitter space. Like you said, yeah, my name is Brad Miner, also known online as Brad Mines, host and creator of the Having Report podcast. So we do interviews with the space, Bitcoin, crypto, Web3, and also we are a media partner with the Blockchain Futurist Conference. It was our second year doing it. We actually just posted our recap video on our pages. So if you want to check that out, I invite you to do that. And yeah, just excited to share, our insights and takeaways from the conference, man.
Absolutely, man. And I posted that recap video in the little nest there. And just for everybody listening here, let's see if you can find me in this video. All right, I'm kind of doxing myself a little bit, but I'm definitely in the video. Let's see if you can find a guy.
See if you can find them.
All right, great. Next, we'll pass it to Show Me the Crypto. Oh, how's it going, bud?
Hey man, it's going great. Well, it could be better. Back at home, my city's burning, so that's not cool. But hey, that's all right. That's what I came back to after the conference. But all that aside, I left town, so I'm in a safe, not a smoky place, and I'm looking forward to chatting about everything blockchain futurists here and recapping a bit of the event. It was my first time there, and Show Me the Crypto also came as media sponsors, and it was just cool to be at a Canadian conference like this. Like you said, there's not really a lot of big ones. This is definitely the biggest in Canada, and to be there and meet all these great people, have a lot of good conversations, and check out the cool venue with nice weather. I mean, it was a good time. I'm looking forward to chatting about it more here.
Yeah, absolutely. It was it was pretty crazy because just for heads up too, me and Ulf are actually from the same burning town right now. I actually just got back to my place after having to bounce. It's definitely crazy flying back in from Toronto and then having to get it back. At least I
Yeah.
was half packed, right? So, anyways, next I'll pass it over to Ryan from Zombies. How's it going, bud?
Hey, not too bad. Yeah, so I'm Ryan, one of the co-founders here at Zombies. Yeah, so we attended last week at Futurist, second time going. We went last year. Yeah, it was really great. Looking forward to sharing more about it. And yeah, we're there kind of promoting an upcoming launch of a little trading card game, and fortunate enough to kind of share with a few people and get some feedback, but we can get into that later.
Amazing. Yeah, Ryan. Yeah, I know. I love Zombies because it really appeals to the DGen side of me. I love it. I love what you guys are building there. So I guess kind of to get started here, I really want to hear your thoughts. If you guys have anything to say, by the way, just throw up that little emoji hand, and then I'll go first come, first serve. So, my first question, to kind of kick things off, is, you know, what was your guys's kind of overall vibes of the conference, right? Canada doesn't have very many conferences, like we're saying, so the ones that we do have gotta step it up. So I'd love to kind of hear your thoughts on the overall vibe of what was going on, and just kind of see what you thought about it, even compared to, say, some other conferences that you have been to, either around North America or other places.
Sure, you want us to just jump in sort of one at a time here?
Yeah, well, just throw up your hand there, and then I'll see like Zoobies is, and then I'll kind of call on you. So let's go with Ryan there, and then we'll just kick it off.
Yeah, so my only comparison really is I've been to NFT NYC last year. I haven't been to any other conference really that I can think of in Canada or outside. So the Toronto one, great, great attendance, great people. The venue, I think, is great. It's a little bit far to get to, far from the hotels and everything else, so you're kind of trapped out there, which may be a good thing because you're kind of all stuck together. They have their food trucks and drinks and whatnot. Getting around the actual venue itself, I think, was reasonable. My experience was, it's kind of random, right? You're walking around, you're talking to people. People are very friendly, which is great. You have the VIP side, you go on that side, it's a little bit separated that way. And I would say the only feedback, and I was telling people when I was there, was that when you're kind of walking around, you don't really know maybe always what people are there for. Like, for example, in NFT NYC, they had it divided by track. So, like, when you came in, you had different colored lanyards for whatever track you're in. So, if you're a PFP or if you're DeFi or gaming or whatever, right? I think they had about 7 divisions. So you can come in. Some people were in multiple lanyards, so they have multiple colors. They kind of knew, and that color theme went throughout. So they were on the walls and like banners and stuff. So if you went and stood in a particular area, you could kind of like identify with that color, and then people would hang around that area and they want to get into that conversation. Or if you went and traveled through to the other areas, then you knew kind of generally what kind of conversation you were going to get into, and that was kind of helpful in a way. In that you would find what you were looking for more specifically when you were walking around in that kind of environment. In the Toronto one, again, great. Having a mixed blend of people, I had conversations with people from all across the spectrum of what their intentions were and why they were there. So that was good. And maybe with the numbers being, still a lot of people, but like New York was massive. So if you were trying to find who you were looking for there, the random, may not have worked with so many people, but so yeah, that was my only initial feedback with it. Curious to hear other thoughts on it.
I kind of like that I kind of like that NFT NYC move as well. Because walking around, and then too, you can also connect with boys based on the lanyards and their color, right? So me, I'm a big name tag hunter. I'm a name tag bloodhound, man. I'm always scoping out name tags. Once I hit the boost, I'm looking at name tags. So definitely having a color coordinated name tag would definitely make my life a lot easier. Anyways, let's pass it over to Peter. Peter, you want to do a quick introduction about yourself? And we're just asking about, overall vibes to start off the space.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll do an intro. Peter, doing the head of biz dev for a DeFi project, and then also a board member for a metaverse startup program that actually did the hybrid part of this conference. And how I think of the conference, from what I heard last year, I think it was pretty good. The venue, I liked it. You had inside and outside. It wasn't spread out too far across. Compared to other conferences, it was easy to navigate. If anyone went to Eat Denver, that was like a freaking maze. I couldn't even find a bathroom. And then Consensus, just a big auditorium. So I think it was, for the size, it was decent. And I think it had some good events, and you didn't really have to go to any side conferences or side events. Everything was there happening. So I thought it wasn't too bad.
Great. Well, I'm happy you showed up, Peter. And then yeah, let's pass it over to Ulf. And let's kind of hear your thoughts on everything.
Yeah, for sure. So I've only been to, like, comparing to other conferences. I went to the Bitcoin conference in Miami a year ago, and that's sort of that's my main sort of comparison. Otherwise, I went to NFT event, but yeah, otherwise I'm just looking at this compared to other conferences I've been to, and I think what was nice about it, starting with some of the things that I enjoyed, was the venue was super cool. It's one of the coolest venues I've been to. It's not a huge venue, but for an event of this size, I thought it was appropriate. Like, having a big venue would have just felt sort of empty, and so this was a good size for it. And the fact that it's, like, as far as I understand, it's a nightclub normally, so that's kind of interesting, but made for I think a cool setup. So that was really nice. We also, I mean, this is not really particular to the event, but we had great weather. That was awesome too. And then, as far as, like, what I liked about it, again, comparing to, say, Bitcoin, like, Bitcoin Miami is all Bitcoin. It's Bitcoin or die there. You get hated on if you even like any other chain or project or anything that's not on Bitcoin. And this was nice for me because I don't, that's not the way I see crypto. And to be at an event that sort of supports all narratives and is just there, there wasn't any, like, negativity when I was there. Everybody's open to talking about any sort of subject matter within the blockchain space. That was all, enjoyable for me. And other than that, I think just being Canadian too, to have a place that I could attend where I got a lot of value and had fun and enjoyed it, gives me a certain level of, like, pride, I guess, as a Canadian. We're not a huge, we're a big country geographically, but we're not huge in terms of population. So to see the whole sort of Canadian Bitcoin community get together, and to see so many people from Canada all in one place supporting crypto and blockchain was really cool.
Absolutely. Another big benefit of just speaking to a bunch of other Canadians is they actually understand what I'm saying, especially once a guy gets fired up. I start speaking the slang. No one knows what the hell I'm saying. So it's great. That was great. Next, I'll pass it over to Brad. How's it going, buddy? What do you think of the conference overall?
Oh yeah, so like I said before, is our second time going there, and I just wanted to mention, like, it was busier this year. Maybe it had something to do with weather, but people were actually in the pool this year, having a good time. People were so engaging. I found, like, a lot of talk about AI, but yeah, I just kind of referring what the gentleman from Show Me the Crypto was saying, and, like, we do a lot of Bitcoin focused shows on our show here, so I was just kind of curious, like, such a difference probably from the Futurist conference than the Bitcoin conference, and just the ethos. There's still that decentralized ethos, I bet, but I could imagine that there's quite a difference of the type of people that are there. So yeah, I'd be interested to talk to those guys a little bit more about the differences there. But yeah, all in all, man, a lot of unique projects. Anything from anything. The decentralization revolution is obviously the future. And yeah, it was super cool to see. Learn about Footprint. You guys offer some awesome information on Footprint on your guys' site there. Still looking lots into that. NDAX, Firebird Media, and BitBuy with a growing presence there as well. All things that I noted.
Amazing. Yeah. Thanks for the shout out too, by the way. And we're talking about guys in the pool. I only saw one guy in the pool. And I
Yeah.
think that guy
Does
was me.
anybody does anybody remember the guy in the pool?
Hey, I saw two guys in the pool.
Okay, all right. Actually, I remember that one guy in the pool. Is actually just a little off topic, but we were hanging out. I was hanging out with the Halving Report there, just floating around, and this one guy dives in, comes in for an interview, and this guy was the most anti-crypto dude I have ever met, swimming around in the crypto conference. It's just like he was just going off. I said, buddy, you might be in the
You
wrong
really
spot.
went into the deep end. You really
Oh
jumped
yeah,
into the
you
deep
really
end
hit the
there.
deep end of that pool. That's for damn sure. Anyways, Dan, let me pass it over to you, bud. What was your kind of overall thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, actually, now that you're talking about the pool, that's I wanted to say, like, one of the problems. I don't have that much experience going to different conferences. Like, my frame of reference is consensus, which was like in this huge auditorium where tech conferences, like, you exchange cards, you meet people, and say, yeah, let's link up after somewhere. What I liked about this place, that's because it has that club feel. You can just go off to the cabanas and sit privately and discuss and talk over there. So that was nice. It definitely had a bit of a cozier vibe than other events like that. We also, at my company, Peter mentioned the hybrid event. We were like, okay, you know what? Peter told us about it, and we're like, you know what? Let's just go for it. Let's sponsor this in the hybrid and the Decentraland version. So that was interesting too to see how it combined. The only thing about that, like in the future with hybrid events, it's like okay, people are at the real event, and then it happens at the same time. So in the future, it'd be interesting to see how you can combine like the event in Decentraland with the real thing in real life. So yeah,
Sweet, yeah, and you know what? I'm happy you brought out consensus too because I also jumped in the pool of consensus. A guy's like a conference fish over
yeah.
here.
You only go, but Alex only goes to conferences where there's a pool. If there's no pool, he's not going to show.
Or
You
after
know, I
parties.
I got a big say, man. If you're gonna be the only guy in the pool, your BD is either gonna go through the roof or through the shitter. And so far, it's only been going through the roof for me. So I kind of want to now touch on kind of the metaverse side, right? Because as we've been going on and on through this bear market, metaverse has kind of been, according to our data, right, from last year or from 2021, or sorry, yes, from June 2021 to June of 2022. Actually, when you compare NFTs, tokens, and metaverse properties actually gave you the most returns in this 1 year. And then after that, it just went down, 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 right? And, people are kind of avoiding the metaverse. But something with Futurist was, it kind of really seemed that the really big focus was on new metaverse platforms. And my question for you guys is, based on what you've seen there at Futurist, do you think the metaverse is going to be back? Is it's going to be more hot coming on? Like we saw Shibarium get announced there, so that was very exciting. But what's kind of your thoughts after seeing kind of the whole metaverse side of Futurist? What's kind of your thoughts on the metaverse in the future? And I just got see Peter with his hand up. It's all yours, bud.
Yeah, I think it's still new technology to introduce. There's always kinks and bugs, but I think it's all about providing that use case for it. Everyone, when they hear about it, probably roll their eyes and whatnot because it's all about gaming. But I think when projects come up to start bringing up a use case or connecting, that's where it gets start to grow. Yeah, it was exciting to see that Shibarium is launching theirs, and theirs is on the Unreal Engine, so not the Roblox type of graphics, but it's more like a PS4, PS5 type of graphics, which is I'm excited to see them launch soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone else have any thoughts on kind of, a little bit metaverse hype after Futures? All right, Dan, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah. So the Shibarium, I think this Shaitoshi speech, it definitely got me hyped up for that. But it was also interesting to finally see like a use case for that metaverse property and that metaverse land. Like I was in the Decentraland Conference Center with Peter's venture there, and put a little ad out, sponsorship booth. So of course, yeah, it's in the beginning stages, but it was a good way to connect with some of the other people who were there and who were also interested in exploring the Decentraland space. And there's some tangential crossover with what we're doing too. We do real estate. It's not exactly one to one, but it's definitely interesting getting those people's wallets and connecting with them. So yeah, we're starting to see some use cases of that from business.
It's also pretty funny, right? Because it's people own metaverse real estate, and then your company
Yeah,
is real estate in the world. So it's like, hey, I know you have
Exactly.
metaverse real estate. How about getting
Right.
in this one?
Right. You got to hedge your bets, right? You got to have the metaverse real estate and the real estate.
Well, I mean, why not do both? With Meta Wealth, you only need 100 beans, right? That's speaking more my budget. I'm curious on from Show Me the Crypto and Halving Report. What was kind of your guys' overall vibes or like feelings about the metaverse? I know you're interviewing a ton of different protocols and founders and stuff. So, what is kind of your thoughts on metaverse hype going forward? And maybe I'll just pass it to Brad for this one to start. Then I'll.
Yeah, so yeah, I was speaking to someone about the development of NFTs in that space and their development on that and that's just seeing that ramp up. So yeah, like to answer your question earlier, like it's sticking around. I think it's something that's going to be definitely going on the up in the next bull run. Some of these tokens, NFTs in that space, but. Yeah, that's all I really got to just talk about in terms of the meta.
All good. Then I'll pass it right over to Ulf.
Yeah, funny enough, I mean, I consider myself, so I have an opinion on most things in crypto, but the metaverse and as far as like land NFTs go and things like that, it's a little, I haven't dove into it too much. If Wade was here, he's actually been buying very recently. He's been picking up Decentraland, Sandbox, like lots of these lands. So he'd be more the guy to give you his opinions. But yeah, for me, I don't really. I guess maybe I just haven't. It hasn't clicked with me yet as far as seeing the value. But as with anything in crypto, usually you just got to spend a little more time with it, and eventually you get sucked in and want to jump in and own a piece yourself. So I might have to just give that some more time.
I actually bought some land on the Shiba metaverse 2 days ago, and that was my first time ever jumping into it.
Yeah, Marcy was getting me all fired up on Shiba parcels, man. I was thinking about she's only 500 beans. I said, woo, maybe that's definitely within the budget, but I don't know if I want to be on the outskirts yet, right? I want to be right in downtown Shibarium, right? I don't know if it's grown up enough to be in the suburbs, so. But anyways, now my next question is I want to talk about because the beauty of conferences is the networking and the people that you meet and the friends. Oh God, I'm so corny. The friends you meet along the way, and I wanted to ask you guys, like overall for the networking, how did you guys enjoy it? Right? How was networking at Futurist, and what do you guys think of those after events? Because truthfully, I'm a big guy. Like I'm a big believer that the true networking doesn't actually happen at the conference. It happens at the after events when you got a couple of drinks in you and you're just chatting, making some friends. So Ryan, I'll pass this over to you, bud.
Yeah, man. As soon as you said the word drinks, I was in on this one. So, yeah, for me, I don't know about anybody else, but I didn't actually hear a single speaker speak. No offense, hopefully, to anybody that was a speaker or anything. It's just my style. So I walked in and I went straight to networking. So I'm walking around. I looked at the booths and stuff, checked stuff out, talking to people along the way. I was kind of pimping our brand a bit, right? So I brought our little cards, business size cards. You guys might have seen them laying around, said Bones on them, trying to get some attention, but then shaking hands and just doing introductions. And then kind of went out into the outside where the cabanas are. And again, the fortunate weather allowed us to be out there almost the whole time. So literally, like as I'm walking, just shaking hands and making eye contact and talking to people and like making my way across. And I have a bit of a core group in Toronto that I'm able to kind of meet up with every time I go there. So I met up with them. They're kind of deep in the industry, so there's lots to talk about and catch up on, and then meet their network of people. So yeah, my experience was not there for the talks. I did catch up on them when I got home. Went on YouTube, skimmed through about 8 hours of talks, which is great. There were some really, really good ones. So if you didn't catch everything, definitely go catch up on the Futurist talks that were there. But yeah, I mean, I met some crazy interesting people. One guy was working on, I don't even know what he was explaining. It was like I'm a coder, but I work on the front end, work with smart contracts, work with like full stack. He was, I think, a blockchain engineer. He was deep down in the problem stuff, and he was explaining like there's some super crazy smart people there working on that side, and then talking to investors and the money guys. We know the guys at Sat Street, so talking about their growth and kind of where they're headed into now, kind of going outside of Canada into international, banking and enablement for movement of capital and money moving through the systems. Talking to people that are just like up and coming in the space and like learning and kind of getting their foothold of this whole big huge scope of all the terminology and where they could fit, like people coming up through like computer science or the marketing side. And in terms of events, like man, we were trying to nail every event that we could get to. So I think on the Monday night, we're supposed to go to Virgo CX. We didn't make it. We ended up staying at the, I think it's NFTO and Crypto Chicks. They host an event. The space was pretty cool in terms of, it looked like a little kind of like club space, I guess, with the downstairs. And they set up like a little gaming thing downstairs, but like dark lights and, spoke to an engineer there and just some other people that were working in that space. And then I think Tuesday we ended up at, I think that was the Bibliotech, which I think was a speakeasy. I don't know if anybody else went to that. That was amazing. It was really cool. I know as soon as we walked up to the door, they're like, no photography, and they stuck tape on our cameras on our phones.
Oh yeah.
Did you go there?
Yeah, I remember that. I was like, yeah, there's little secret doors and stuff.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that,
Did anybody else?
The bar. I can see why they're covering the cameras.
Yeah.
Offense.
Yeah, that one was more of a, I guess, dancing and stuff. Like, I don't know if I really talked that much business there, but again, it's familiar faces and like, kind of like, oh yeah, you were there last night, something to talk about, right? And then I think on the last night, we tried to get into the main event, but we couldn't get in. We waited in line for a long time. And then we just went across to the Wheat Sheaf, I think across one block over, and just had some drinks again, and catching up with like kind of the circle of people that kind of grew around us. So I think there was like 6 of us, and then kind of grew into like 10, and then there was like 15 of us who took over a cabana at one point. But it was great because I could sit down. I was showing the game, I was demonstrating it with people, and our game is multiplayer, so it's PvP. So you have 2 people playing head-to-head on their phones, but we have a spectator mode that will support up to 25 people. So we had like 3 people, I think, spectating. It was pretty funny, right? Because everybody's getting excited, and you get that crowd kind of, vibe going. So that was great for me. That was exactly what I went to the conference for, and just catch up with like-minded people. Like, I'm in London, Ontario. We have a small group of people. There was some colleagues here that went with me. But I mean, there's only like literally a handful of people here. So when we go to Toronto and there's a bigger group of people and then people coming in, it's great to like just bounce ideas, like massive amount of information going back and forth. Made a ton of contacts. We do the Telegram thing, take a selfie, and all that. So yeah, I've got a bunch of follow up to do, and yeah, really looking forward to reconnecting with everybody that I met while I was there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy you brought that up about going to the conference and meeting a lot of smart people. That's why I go to conferences. I love to listen to people that are way smarter than me. It really kind of gets me connected. All right, really gets me fired up to seeing all these smart people building these really cool things. Next, I'll just pass it over to Ulf. Ulf's got to bounce here, so get this final question, then we'll outro.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Yeah, it's been fun catching up on the event. As far as some of my networking for us as media sponsors, I mean, it was really cool. It was a really cool experience as media sponsors. That's the first time Show Me the Crypto's been to an event doing that. And we had a ton of interviews lined up. We got an interview in with Anthony Diorio, with Michelle Romano. We talked to the guys from Coinbase and Kraken and WonderFi. So for me, a lot of the networking was sort of on that media side and doing these interviews, which, by the way, we'll be publishing over the next coming 2 to 3 weeks here. So do keep an eye on us if you're interested in any of that. Yeah, and that was kind of my favorite part. Now, as far as like outside of just the interviews, I also got to meet a lot of really cool people at the event, and it's kind of cool that like everybody's kind of there, representing whomever they're with. But there's just like I chatted with guys from Arbitrum, and like I'm a heavy Arbitrum user, and so it's cool when you get to meet people working on the projects that you're actually like actively using and working with when you're doing things in the space. So that's great chats. I honestly didn't meet anyone that was like I didn't like or got a bad vibes from. So it was all a good time on the networking front. But I do got to bounce. So thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. And yeah, check us out. Show Me the Crypto. We do interviews, podcast style, and we're on YouTube and pretty much any social we share clips on as well. So do check us out. And yeah, thanks again for having me today.
Hey, Alf, it's a pleasure, bud. And let me know when you get home all safe, bud.
Yeah,
We'll get
definitely.
an interview organized. So, next, let's continue the question here. Overall networking. Halving report, Dan or Peter. Do you guys have anything you'd like to add? Start up your hand. All right, Dan or Brad, go ahead, bud.
Okay. Yeah. No. Everyone was very willing to, engage with us. Answer lots of questions. Show me their QR, connect on LinkedIn, set up some interviews down the road. But yeah, just relating to what you said, like a lot of the networking doesn't happen at the event per se. It's like after hours. Like I was with you at a couple bars afterwards. We're talking to people, and we kind of have that. Brotherhood, as being crypto people just out and about in Toronto. There's only so many places you can go during the week that are kind of bumping, right? So, yeah, people were really willing to engage. We had a freaking awesome time, man. We can't wait to do it again next year. Totally positive vibes all around, energetic, very forward looking, and just offered like a lot of optimism in the crypto community while we're kind of battling this bear market, right? So yeah, we got people. I got people lined up to do some interviews, so we always get lots of connections, and it's almost difficult to kind of reflect on all the people you spoke to. But one thing I will say is we did a lot of impromptu interviews, just walking around the place, and everyone was willing to engage, and those turned out to be some of our best footage.
Yeah, man, that's where it happens, man. Sometimes just riding the wave, going with the flow. That's where you get the best clips and meet the best people for sure. Hey.
Oh, for sure, man. Making waves both literally and figuratively.
Amen. Peter, what's kind of your thoughts? I seen you networking everywhere, bud. Like you were the BD extraordinaire the weekend. When I was seeing you, you're in every single cabana, talking to all the big shots. I love it. So, what was your thoughts on the networking?
I think it was the same to like any conference, and then just.
Flexing.
But for me in general, I just like to talk to everybody, meet everyone. You never know who you're going to run into that's building the next big thing. And then from the other conversations, I forgot who was saying it. It's cool to meet people from the team, like a project that you're using as well. So I think it's a cool thing. And then, yeah, they had the nice cabanas and all those like pretty, at least decent places to network and talk to people in more of a relaxing environment, rather than some of the big conferences. You're just standing all the time. It's noisy because there's 10,000 people there and you can't hear a thing and whatnot. So I like the environment of it.
That was something I was really impressed with Futurist, because it was such it was pretty cramped venue, like keeping it real, but you could still find spots to escape and discuss business, right? Other times at other conferences I've been to, they've had like networking dens. But they have networking dens in the middle of conferences. It's just loud, like you're saying, Peter, noisy, easily to get distracted. So that was one thing I really liked about the kind of the setup of Futurist was it was easy to get away from all the hustle and bustle and the noise and really talk business when you needed to talk business, which is great. Dan, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Yeah, no, that's what everybody already said. The cabana area was great, but not just that. There was like the upstairs. It had the patio rooms, so that was good for that. reason as well. Sometimes those conferences and those convention centers, even though they're big, they feel quite fast paced and cramped and noisy. That was fun. And another thing, to be very honest, I've been not as deep in the crypto space, especially in the last year. So I was a bit nervous going into this. Like, will I be able to add to the conversation, talk to people there? But everyone was super welcoming. And yeah, it was a good vibes all around.
Amen. So, hopping into the next question, I'm curious on what your guys' biggest shock was about the conference. For me personally, my biggest shock was just how much of a presence Shiva had for that whole conference. Like they were everywhere. I was just absolutely shocked, right? And truthfully, for a meme coin, I was just even more amazed that they're throwing around that kind of coin. Like that's what was I was just amazed with. Like you don't see, like I've never been to a conference where Dogecoin is flexing up, or I haven't seen any Pepe boys at any conferences. So to see like the Sheep community come by and have such a huge presence at Futurist, that was like almost shocking to me, but not in a bad way. It's very very cool. So now that you heard my side, what was your guys' kind of biggest shock, or like something that you're most surprised about at the Futurist conference? All right, Peter, hit it.
I'll agree with you. The Sheeb Army presence was pretty big. We were with them at the cabanas, but their logos were ever. I think they were the like title sponsor, or they just took over it by throwing so much coin around there to, really do their presence. They did do the ending party as well at the conference, so it was a pretty big thing. And they had some of their people from projects built on them showed up, and also one of their biggest influencers was there, Zach. So I think that the support was pretty cool, and excited to see how much they keep growing and transferring from meme to movement.
Absolutely. I know. Actually, I'm gonna keep adding on. Another big shock was seeing BitBoy. If you guys see me walking around after the networking events, I was kind of dressed like a Mormon. So I saw BitBoy, and I was like, "Yo, selfie." First thing he says to me, "You're not the SEC, are you?" He says, "You're not the SEC." I said, "I get it. I'm dressed like a Mormon, bud, but you're safe for now." Anyways, Dan, what was kind of your biggest shock, or your biggest kind of like crazy takeaway from the Futurist?
Yeah, actually, just to take a step back here, now that you mention it, yeah, like I didn't really watch any of listen to many of the speeches. I was walking around, but somehow I ended up listening to the Shibarium launch. I guess everyone just went wild when that was going on, and it took me off guard. It got my attention, and it was a really good presentation as well. That was really hyped up, and they hyped it well. So bring it up, yeah, that was a pretty big shock. Other than that, I don't know. It was the first time I went to a convention or like a corporate conference that was in a nightclub, but it went pretty smooth. So yeah,
Hey, Alex.
that was interesting.
Alex,
It's a good
how
format
did you,
too.
What are you saying, Peter?
Alex, how'd you feel after meeting BitBoy? Inside joke.
Well, personal opinions aside, it's always nice to see someone that's big in the crypto scene, people that I've seen lots of news on and stuff like that. Truthfully, I think, geez, I was also very shocked because I think BitBoy looks very different in person compared to all of his thumbnails that I've seen.
Were you
But,
expecting to be like 6'5" or what?
no, I just it's hard to, in terms of not to roast the guy. I'm just gonna keep my opinion on myself. I was just a little shocked, I was just a little surprised when I met him. Anyways, I'm past the Brad.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna join you on that. Definitely, the Sheeb Army was definitely like I was kind of taken back to see their presence there, and just in general the conference and how many like their big name platinum partners and sponsorships for the show or for the conference. Like, it's good to see it growing and like I know I think it was your first time coming to the conference, Alex, but like there's a lot of first timers there and a lot of repeaters. So I was happy to see that, but not so much shocked, but just happy to see a lot of first timers. during the bear. And that Shiba army. I think you mentioned there was like an anti-crypto guy going off in the pool, and he was super anti Shiba, and he told us like go to their website, look through the companies. That's an interview I have. I'm going through the footage. I might post that at a later date and just kind of put that out there people can make their own conclusions from it. But yeah, their presence was definitely not there last year, but they were for sure unnoticed. They couldn't go unnoticed this year. So I just kind of wanted to point that out.
Yeah, for real. Like I said, for a meme coin to have this sort of presence, is it even a meme coin at this point? Let's just take away meme coin and just start calling it what it truly seemed was, like a community. Anyways, let's pass over to Ryan.
Yeah, just same. I was walking through and saw that Shiba final presentation and caught my attention. Like I said, I didn't watch any of them, but I actually stopped and watched their final presentation for a few minutes because it was like engaging. I was like, "What is this? What's happening here?" And that was pretty wild. But yeah, my little surprise takeaway came. Somebody mentioned at the conference, and then it clicked in after. Was that somebody was like, "Hey, did you know that this venue is in the new series Painkiller that's on Netflix with Matthew Broderick?" And then so I kind of clicked in for a second, but the buzz of what's going on and everybody talking, kind of forgot about it, and then I came back chilling out watching Painkiller because I was watching before I left, which is, if you haven't seen, it's about the OxyContin problem down across North America and all that stuff. But there's a scene, not to say too much, where it's actually shot in Rebel. So it's kind of funny if you go back and watch that now, you'll totally identify with, all the places, like they're up on the balcony, they're in the main stage area, they're on the cabanas, all those shots. So give that a watch if you haven't. There's that was my little surprise.
Yeah. All right. And now, I got another question, and I don't want this to be the wrap-up question, but I'm also very curious. After our biggest shock, I want to know what your guys' thoughts on, what could be the biggest kind of improvement going forward for, the Futurist conference. Me personally, even though they did have, parallel booths set up, like the parallel game booth set up, I would have loved to see, just more game protocols there. Getting their booth set up, right? Me, I'm a big gamer. I was just, I thought the booths that were set up, then this is also kind of getting me with the consensus vibes. Is just I think it was just too many like layer ones, L2s showing off, and there wasn't just a ton of diversity in the protocols that were presenting. Now, don't get me wrong, that's nothing bad because there's always people walking around from everywhere, but I would have liked to see a bigger variety of protocols being showcased. I think for next year, maybe we could get a bigger venue so that it is easier, or there's more spaces for smaller studios that want to promote their game. Right? I'm a big believer in gaming, helping drive the bull market coming up next time. Knock on wood. So that was for me would be kind of my biggest or thing that I wish could be improved for next year. But now I want to hear your guys' thoughts.
Yeah, I guess I'll say, I'll jump in here. What somebody said about the lanyards at another event, that would be really interesting because my biggest thing about the event was, well, like there's a schedule, right? There's one main stage, a side stage, but at one of these kinds of things, like early, come on, who's actually keeping track of the schedule and is able to go to every event that they wanted to? It would be really good to have like a DeFi stage, a GameFi stage, maybe an NFT stage, so you do know where to gravitate to. Because seeing the agenda and keeping track of that, and you're not going to end up watching much of the programmed content.
Yeah, absolutely. I did notice it was like when you're good at the BD and stuff, right? You'll find the boys you want to talk to, right? But sometimes you just wish it was a little bit easier, right? Peter, all yours.
Yeah, this is, I guess, my personal opinion, but more value for the VIP tickets and VIP areas and cabanas. I didn't really see that much of a difference, with having a general admission and a VIP. other than maybe an upstage access. But I mean, this is just my one gripe is like they had a bar, maybe make that an open bar for the VIP people and whatnot, because those tickets were pretty pricey compared to general admission, and for what it was worth, I couldn't really see the difference in those tickets, to be honest.
You know, truthfully, I was in the VIP section and I got a little double there, and they asked me for $22. I was shocked. I said, "Excuse me?" I said, "Don't you see what I have on my wrist right now? It says three letters VIP." There's a $22 double. Come on. Anyways, what about you, Ryan? What was kind of your what you wish could be improved for coming conferences here?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, like as I mentioned, and I think the other speaker was saying there, yeah, some sort of division of tracks I think could make sense. Not a huge division, like you don't want people totally isolated from each other, but just something that helps people identify, something they're looking for specifically in the area. And then like you mentioned too about kind of an area, you could almost create like maybe a room for like micro vendors, let's call them, where people can come and kind of showcase early entry stuff. And I think like we know the big L1s are the big money, so they're kind of the big sponsors and they get their booth, and that's great. We all get that. We want to see their brands, but really it's all about user, right? It's a user experience. So like we really should be seeing kind of our surface level dApps and user applications on those L1s. Like, you know what I mean? Like maybe the L1s are helping their ecosystem promote their dApps or their brand, like their brands that are on building on top of their platforms. That's kind of forward facing. Like I want to walk past and try something on a phone or on a tablet, and I want to see how it works. And that's actually what I was doing in the networking is people were showing me like Lens protocol and like friend I can't remember what it's called now. There's the one where you're kind of trading tokens of your friends. Yeah, they're showing me dApps. They're like, "Oh, have you seen this dApp? Have you seen this dApp? Have you tried this?" I'm like, no, I haven't actually. Like, that kind of stuff is great. Like that's the user experience. How do I do this? What buttons am I pushing? What's my experience going to be like? And then explain what happens underneath, like how the workings work, right? Because like really, like L1s and stuff like that, great. We understand it, we trust it, we want to know the brand, but really most of us don't actually care. It works, right? Like, does it work? Okay, great. How do I use this? What's the application? Same with Cosmos, right? Like I went to the Cosmos event, great. I talked to some of the people outside and all that, but I want to see what's being built on there. I couldn't understand that because I'm not in that ecosystem, but I'm curious about it, right? I'm very much outside of that. How does that work? I'm very fascinated by it. And the co-founder, I think, was there, and he did a talk. And if you haven't watched that, go watch that. That was fascinating. Like, out of all the talks, I'm like, I got to go watch this again. This guy really, really knows what the hell he's talking about, man. In some fashion, I don't know, what the application is, but I'm like, this sounds like a real problem that needs to be solved, and it sounds like he's got some sort of solution going. So I'm very curious about their ecosystem now. But yeah, that'd be my feedback, is a little bit more access in those ways. But otherwise, yeah, everything else. And same with the VIP. I'm like, what happened, man? There was lunches, I think, last year for VIPs. Now I'm getting like a beef patty, which I'm not complaining about because they were awesome, in the empanadas. But like, where's the meal with the VIP ticket? Even one drink ticket, 2 drink tickets. Like, I don't know. Isn't that what VIPs get? Like, we're paying the same price. People are like, oh, no, it's a bear market. I'm like, well, yeah, but these aren't bear market VIP prices. So what?
Yeah, these definitely are bear market prices.
That's a pass. So we can make it open bar.
Yeah. Anyways, is there anything else? So we kind of cut you off there, Ryan. Is there anything else you wanted to add, or should I pass it right over to Brad?
No, go ahead. Yeah, that was about it for me.
Great, Brad. You went to Futurist last year, right? So you have even stronger opinion on seeing it evolve from last year to this year. What do you really wish, or what were you happy that you kind of saw improve from last year? But what needs to be improved for next year too?
Yeah, that's a good question. Last year was very exploratory for us, just kind of checking out the vibe. This year felt a little bit more comfortable. Like I said, doing more impromptu interviews. I noticed that they made use of the upstairs more this year, and so like they're expanding their spaces. Maybe they had more vendors, more booths set up. I'm not sure on the exact numbers, but I guess it would be kind of in line with what you were saying in regards to just some sort of mechanism to link up with the people you want to interview or connect with. Just something along the lines of that. I find a lot of the information kind of comes out gradually, but I guess that's just kind of how it works, how the cookie crumbles. But yeah, I guess just more information in terms of meeting people and where you can set up for that kind of thing. Spaces, they had some spaces to do interviews, which was good as well. But yeah, I think they're on the right track. I mean, I had Tracy, the organizer, on the podcast before. She really gives it her all, and I think it's doing a great job. One thing I noticed, like, and we talked about this earlier, and the difference between like the Bitcoin conference is like a lot of those guys, like the Maxi gang, like doesn't want to partake, and that's fine. Like, I do see, like, I was trying to get some of my Bitcoin buddies out, but like a couple of them, weren't interested. Only Bitcoin, right? So anything else is just. So I don't know. I guess they kind of makes me feel like they're a little bit of the boomers of the space, a little bit. And when you're not learning about other decentralized protocols in the space, that's could definitely have huge impact on the future. But those are all things. Just a thought dump there. I'm super excited to go back next year. It's going to be bigger, better. We're going to do more ourselves too. So hopefully see you guys all there next year too.
Amen. I hope to see the boys there too, right? The beauty of these conferences is meeting the boys. And you're talking about how so you wish there's kind of easier ways to network with the people you want to network with. Well, I think in ETH Denver and also Consensus, they had events inside the conference that was like speed networking. You sign up for the event, they're like, okay, what do you do? Who do you want to talk to? Right? And they will go in and they will set up and they'll streamline your experience so that you're talking to the exact types of protocols that you need to talk to, right? That's just amazing, right? What a great way to, you know, streamline my networking and talk to the people that I need to talk to. I think that could be another great idea going forward for Futurist. Have a in actual official conferencing networking event where you just get set up with the right kind of people. I think that would be a great opportunity. Now, now, boys, we're kind of getting on to like the little 5 minute mark. So, or 5 minutes to mark. So, if there's anybody here listening in the audience, now is your time, guys. If you have anything you want to come up, ask the boys about, whether about questions about Futurist or questions about even their protocol, feel free, request to speak, and I'll bring you up. In the meantime, kind of, I want to bring it back a little bit here and kind of talk about, overall just vibes. Was Futurist Conference this year worth it enough for you guys to go back next year? Obviously, Brad said, hell yeah, let's do it. But I'm curious for you, Ryan, Peter, and also you, Dan, especially as Ryan and Dan being Toronto locals, was your experience at Futurist Conference this year rewarding enough to want to go back next year? And I'll start that with Ryan.
Yeah, I would say definitely. The connections I made again this time were even stronger and reinforced ones that I made started last year. So my network has grown because of this conference, and the locality of it makes it easy. Like, it's fairly low cost. I mean, it's not cheap to travel anywhere. Toronto is insane expensive. Unfortunately, just get a hotel or Airbnb. So that kind of sucks, but whatever, right? You got to do it. Like if you're going to go to a big city. But yeah, definitely will be going again. I don't know if I would go into a sponsor position for it necessarily. I don't know if it's my core audience, but I would definitely use it as a venue to network, and then also to just kind of promote our product and get feedback and continue to grow it. So yeah, count me in. And also, I got to say goodbye. I got to head out. Thanks for having me. Anybody DM me, connect, find out more about our project, and we're involved. We're here. So yeah, we're not going anywhere. Thanks again, guys.
Amen. All right, Ryan. Well, pleasure having you up, bud. Hopefully get you on another space soon. It was fun.
Definitely.
All right, bud. Catch you later.
All right, later. Thanks,
Brad,
everybody.
all yours, man.
Hey, yeah, just before people started to roll out, I just want to throw out a personal invite to each and one of you. If anyone wants to speak about what they're building on in the space, or come and learn from us and what we have to offer, shoot us a message. We're definitely we're booking podcasts, we're booking shows, and we put some good effort into each one. So if anyone's interested, please hit us up.
Amazing, amazing. And Peter, what are your thoughts? You came across the border for this conference, right? How was it overall? Would you be coming over the border again next year?
Well, one of the reasons I came on or attended in person was to at least run point for the company I was with, since we were doing the hybrid. But I mean, the city is cool. The conference was pretty good. I guess it all depends next year on who they have and where they're doing it. I heard that she might be doing it in a bigger venue next year, so I wouldn't say no to it. I guess it depends on the timing and of it all. I mean, I had a good time. I thought it was very good, so I'm open to it again.
Amazing. And then Dan, what about you, bud? No problem. Sorry I hit you with the little cricket sound effect. I had to do it.
No worries, no worries. Of course, like what everybody's already said, I feel the same way. It was a great event. Whether it was worth it, of course, I was there for a business reason. I was there representing MetaWealth and making connections for that. And I think the real value of these kinds of events happens after, like 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and beyond. So really, it's too early to tell. Like getting on this space, it's great. It's one way to get value out of this, but really, we'll see where like the relationships and the conversations after the event develop. I think it was set up pretty decently to facilitate that, but we'll see.
Amen. So with that being said, boys, it's 12 o'clock my time. We've been in here for about an hour, so now it's time to hear a little bit of final thoughts and how the heck do we find you guys and connect with you guys. So let me start it off with Dan. Dan, how the heck do we learn about MetaWealth and connect with MetaWealth?
All right, okay. So first thing you got to do is hop on to flight. Go to Google Flights. Get your next flight to Bucharest, Romania. I'll send you the address of the apartment where we're based at. You can buy property there with a token. No, I'm joking, but you can connect with us on Twitter. We have a Discord, and right now the assets we have on our app to invest in are based in Romania. And you can find out more about that. About those, we have through our webinars. We have them once per month where our CEO talks about what's happening, what's new with our app. Otherwise, just send us a message either on Twitter or Telegram or Discord.
And like you're
and you
saying,
can connect with me too as well.
I don't care where the heck I'm buying property as long as it's giving me 20% APY. Anyways, Peter, tell us about what you got going on and how we can connect with you.
Follow my Twitter, pretty much, or X account. I represent several companies, so one's in DeFi for earning yield, the other one is for collaborating in the metaverse. So I'm open to both. It's pretty much the best way. Just send me a DM.
You heard it here first. Send this guy a DM, man. If you like DeFi or metaverse, Peter's your guy. Brad, final thoughts. How can you connect with the Halving Report? How do I get on the Halving Report?
Hell yeah, man. Well, obviously hit us up on the DM wherever. At Having Report on X, at Having Report on Insta, TikTok, YouTube, HavingReport.com. We got some special links and offers. For our partner BitBuy, for our hardware wallet BitFi. But yeah, basically at Having Report. And like I said, man, We definitely want to get you, Alex, on the show. Peter as well. Like I was talking to you quite a bit there, so I'd be interested to sit down, have a candid conversation with both you guys and anybody else that would be interesting. Please hit us up at Having Report.
Great, guys. Well, with that being said, I'm wrapping it up. And if you want to connect with Footprint, what is Footprint? Well, we blend Web 2 and Web 3 data via abstractions, aka we got a ton of cool data. We got 27 chains, working on 28. Sui is coming soon, so be excited for that, you guys. And you can check out our website, footprint.network. If you have any questions about kind of what we're doing or how to access any data, you can join our Discord. The link is in my bio. Or you can send me a DM. We're happy to connect. And, I like to say, if you're having a data problem, I'm coming in with a data solution. So I want to thank everybody for joining today. Amazing speakers. Even the ones that had to drop off a little early, I appreciate you guys. And that being said, we're going to have a space next week. If I'm not too jet lagged, knock on wood, but I'd love to, see you guys there next week. And in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.